Hi guys, Lexie here, founder of ThePRBAR Inc. And today I went live on Instagram with Christine O'Donnell, founder of Bright Sighted Media. Now, the content was so friggin' great that I wanted people to be able to access it past its live 24-hour expiration date. So I've put together this video just for you. You will note that we had some internet stability issues throughout. Also during the playback, the actual live feed is not working, so just bear in mind, but overall it's great content and I hope you enjoy.
All right, we are officially going live, folks. Today we're going to be talking about podcasting as a PR tool. So if you join us live, great, you can ask questions. If not, feel free to still reach out to both myself or Christine after the fact. And we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Oh, I see Christine has joined us, so we're gonna have her pop live with me.
Hello?
Did we do it?
We did it!
We're here, we're live. Awesome. I've been on your side where I've joined, but I've never been the host of the live. Hi, Susan, thank you for joining. All right.
Well, you're rocking and rolling, Lexie.
Trying. I'm getting way more tech savvy these days. That's what isolation is doing to me. Or at least trying.
Same.
My name is Lexie Smith. I'm the founder of THEPRBAR Inc. And I'm so excited to have Christine with us today, who is the founder of Bright Sighted Media. And I'd love for you to give everyone just a quick intro of who you are.
Well, thank you so much, Lexie. And hello to everyone joining. It's so fun to be broadcasting in these ways. Instagram stories is awesome. Just to share a little bit about my background, I was a TV news reporter for over a decade in top markets across the country, including Los Angeles, New York, and Boston. If anyone here is local to Los Angeles, you may have actually seen me on Good Day LA. I was there for about 2.5 years and made a transition into the marketing world where I started doing storytelling with podcasting. And I am someone who just feels like everyone has an amazing story to share, and podcasting is such a valuable tool for people to not only share their stories, but also to connect with so many people and offer value of, the things that they're especially skilled at, to help other people be more successful in whatever goals or endeavors they have in life, which it's really exciting to watch people and to work with people who do that. So, God, okay, I have to say something quick, everyone. I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. Things are happening, and I'm running out of breath so frequently. So every time I'm like, it's because I'm just there's things going on.
You're killing it. No worries. But yes.
So currently I'm a podcast coach and producer. So I produce a number of podcasts, including my own, which is called Podcast Coaching with Christine. And I help other people to produce their own podcasts in a way that really resonates with their audience and attract sales to their business. So I've been doing that for about 2 years. I've had a lot of success and come up with a really specific method to help people do that. And something I think we're going to talk about today is how podcasting is essential for PR. It's a huge tool for people who are trying to increase how they're known in the world, so more people know them.
Well, that's a perfect segue into kind of my first question is people joining us might be curious, as a consumer, I like to call myself a podcast junkie. I'm continuously listening to podcasts. I want to talk about why business owners might start to think about podcasts as a form of marketing or PR for their business. So high level, tell us some of the pros that you've seen over the years and that you help people with.
Well, someone who I work specifically with for a really long time, his name is Dr. Stephen Gundry. So if anybody studies the plant paradox theory or knows about health and lifestyle, you might be familiar with him. And he's just a great example for me to talk about because so many people do know him. But what we did with his podcast is we found a way to really speak his theories and his thought process and why he believes what believes, to his audience in a way that he can touch more people's lives and tell more stories and bring on a lot of experts that can either argue with him or agree with him. And so that the value that's created during that conversation is something that the audience can take away and then think about, how does this impact me in my daily life? And something that we were able to do through his podcast is grow his thought awareness, thought leadership in a very significant way. In our first year together, we had 2 million impressions, and we had a number of New York Times best-selling books. One of the best way to get your book on the New York Times best-selling list is to be on at least 50 podcasts, which I know sounds like a huge goal, but right, you shoot for the moon and then land on the stars. So I think a good goal for someone who's trying to really get their thought leadership out there is to try and get themselves on 50 podcasts. And then if you are if you're a business or you have your own business and you want to kind of control the kind of messaging that goes out about you and talk to specifically what your clients need to hear about and share a bunch of free information that's just super valuable, that builds your relationship with them and builds trust with them, then a podcast could be the place for you.
Yeah, I love it. And I'll say every single time that I am on a podcast, I, without doubt, get an import of leads. So it's really, really a great tool to have one yourself. It's also a great tool from the PR side of things if you can be on other podcasts. Now, Christine, you have been dropping amazing knowledge bombs lately with statistics. Statistics, for those of people who aren't that familiar with how big podcasting has truly become, can you share with us some of your favorite stats, why they should be paying attention? Because I've been listening to your podcast, following you on social, and these are some sizable numbers.
Yes, there are some really big numbers out there. This past year, in 2020, the podcasting industry hit a new record. And hi, Susan. Thanks for thinking this is awesome. The podcasting industry hit a new record where we surpassed 100 million listeners just in America every month. So monthly, there are 100 million Americans listening to podcasts. That is a huge number, and it's a 37% increase from last year. So from the last time the numbers were counted in 2019 to now in 2020, there's been a huge increase. And, I think it's actually 37% of Americans, not 37%.
Number.
It's a 37% of Americans, which is more than 100 million people every month. So podcasting is becoming part of people's habits. And something that is really interesting to me, just as someone who also uses podcasting as a marketing tool, and I'm going to pull up numbers just so I'm not guessing. That's no fun. Also, I'm a so I got to be sure I'm right number. So nearly half of all people who are between the ages of 12 and 34 say they've listened to one podcast in the past month.
Wow.
So
12? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
So right now in the U.S. population, though, the biggest listening group is adults between the age of 35 and 54. So 40% of all podcast listeners are people between the ages of 35 and 54. And for people who are curious, that's a huge part of the population that spend money through podcasting and going to podcast ad and meeting and learning and doing new things after listening to a podcast. So it's really interesting to see these numbers come in. And I've had a lot of people ask me, and this is what my most recent podcast was about, is how is coronavirus affecting the numbers? So what's going on, right? Worldwide. We are navigating a brand new future that I don't think many of us foresaw just a month ago.
Absolutely not.
I think where people thought we would be. So here we are. And a lot of different industries are being affected by the virus. So podcasting as a whole has been affected as well. There has been some dips in the numbers. However, the dips are really not that sizable compared to a lot of other industries. And new data that has just come out in the past week shows that those numbers are starting to rebound now. And the most likely reason for the dips because all of our habits are like, oh,
Right. That's for sure.
like, because people aren't spending as much time in their cars, their drive time is different. Now they're home with their kids, trying to do work, and also homeschool their kids, and there's just a lot going on. And so the time when they would normally listen to podcasts probably a little bit different than what it is currently because our habits are all up in the air. Hi, Emily.
I know. Hi. We love you too.
and so, yeah, it's just, there has been a lot of craziness with our habits. But now as we're starting to get into a routine, many of us have been quarantined for almost a month now, and we're starting to build new habits. And as we figure out what our place is in the world and how we're going to be like, what our new routines are going to be like, that more people have started to get back to the habit of listening to podcasts. So there's been a small dip, but comparatively, we're still ahead of our numbers this year than we were last year. So the industry is still growing.
It's still going this way.
Yes, in spite of the coronavirus, we're still going upward, which is good news for podcasters.
Yeah, and it's a great point because I used to listen to podcasting when I was in the car, and how that's been shifting for me is now when I'm cleaning or when I'm doing at-home workouts. So people are just getting to new routines, so I think that slight dip will return back to normalcy pretty quickly here as we figure out how the heck to live inside four walls and never leave. So next question for you. For those people listening who might be interested in what the heck goes into creating a podcast, can you really high level talk us through the first things that you would start to do? And quick note too, for anyone joining us live, if you have any podcast or PR related questions, always feel free to comment and we will try to pause and get to them. So, first steps for those interested in getting into podcasting.
Well, if you're interested in getting into podcasting, I would first ask yourself the question, why? Why do I want to start a podcast? What does this mean for me? What value will I be providing to a listener? And what if you have a business, is this going to be a new way to attract leads to your business? Is this something that you want to do just for fun? Is this something that what is the purpose of your podcast? And I think once you really figure out why you're doing it and what the purpose of your podcast is, and it should be something that you really care about, something you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, you're going to keep on doing it, right? If it's something that becomes really stressful, the chances that you're going to want to keep going are going to decrease. So it's got to be something you like, something you're passionate about. It needs to have a purpose. And the thing that I really specialize in is building a strategy with my customers, with my clients, so that they can, at some point, monetize their podcast if that's the goal. That's not everybody's goal. Some people just want to build their reputation or get to know their audience better. All of those things we can run together. So I would first ask yourself those questions. Then write it down so you have your mission statement. And the next step would be signing up for a media hosting company. So figuring out which media hosting company, like a lot of businesses are like, okay, well, now I need to get my business license, or I need to start a website. If you're starting a podcast, you need to have a media hosting company who's going to supply your RSS for you. And you're a brilliant, amazing coder, and you can create your own RSS feed with the coding and the technology and all that. That's not something I can really teach. I can tell you how to say it, to share a really amazing story, but I would suggest getting a media host. I the hosting company Libsyn. That's Libsyn, and there's also there's other companies. There's Podbean, Blueberry. I have a podcast on Blueberry for a while, and I really loved them. They're really great with data there. There's a lot of media hosting companies out there, and I would just suggest doing a little Google search. The reason I like Libsyn is because they've been around the longest, and they have their own private server space for podcasts. And for me, that just is very reliable. When I know that this company is somebody that is not just going ahead and using Amazon servers. So a lot of companies use Amazon servers to store their back end and all of their podcast episodes. This Libsyn has and that's just important to me.
That's good to know. I honestly didn't even know that was a thing, and I'm in the world of PR. I didn't know that you had to start with a media hosting company. So if that's helpful to me, I know it's helpful for those tuning in. So thank you for that. I'm also curious because a lot of the people that I work with, their goal is to be on a podcast. So you obviously have ample experience being both on camera and behind a mic. Do you have any quick tips you could give people for how to sound good when they're being a podcast guest?
How to sound good when you're being a podcast guest? Well, I would say figure out the kind of message you want to get across during that time. Take some time to prepare. Preparation is really important. Lexie is an expert preparer. The amount of time we prepared for just this, I was like, dang, girl, you are on it. She's amazing at preparing. So the more prepared you are, the more confident you're going to be when you step in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, when you're meeting someone new. The more you know and the more you're ready to share your message, you know what your message is going to be. Write it out if you need to. That way you will feel more confident. It's just one little thing you can do is just maybe do a little bit of research about the audience, the podcast you're going to be on, and figure out how you can offer them value. What did I tell you about losing?
Here, do you want to bring it? So I have to say, you are a pro, right? But I'm someone who's not as naturally comfortable in front of a camera or behind a mic. So for me, what I like to do is kind of predict the talking points or the FAQs so that I feel at least semi-prepared and confident in my delivery. I'm not at a point yet where I can just off the cuff go, la la la, la la la, like someone pro status like you could. So I think that's a great point. The more prepared that you are, the more confident you can come across.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think something that will really help you stand out if you're on someone else's podcast is to be a really good listener. Make the host shine, because they're inviting you into the space. They're inviting you to talk to their audience. So the more you can make the person you're speaking with like glow and shine and don't mean blow. What is the expression? Steam up their booty. I mean, like, the more you can be respectful and thoughtful and listen to what they're saying, respond thoughtfully, the more the audience will take away because you are so in line and paying attention with what the host is saying. Sometimes when we get really nervous, we stop listening because we're thinking about the next thing we want to say, the next point we want to get across. So really listening to what someone is saying to us be really helpful. It's like a little thing.
That's such a good point too, and it's a good reminder that when you're going on to someone else's podcast, it's not just about your personal agenda, right? This is something that you've been invited on and you're speaking to their audience. So yes, there's obviously opportunities to promote your business, but remembering first and foremost that you're on why you're there. I want to wrap things up. Before I do, I want to note that Christine is actually a special guest of the PR Bar in our Pop Phys Clink program. So clients of mine, I saw Susan in here, people joining. If you join my program, you do get to work with Christine one-on-one when it comes to being in front of the media. And then kind of flip side, I know I work with her clients, which I'm going to turn to you in a second to talk about your program. I talk about getting press for your podcast. So segue, I'd love to hear more about how people can work with you. Tell everyone listening and watching back where they can find more info about you, how they can work with you, all the fun stuff.
Well, thank you, Lexie. I appreciate it. And I'm really excited to have you as a part of my program as well. And I'm so glad that we found a way to kind of share in each other's skills for our clients. So for Lexie's clients, I'm going to be offering a how to rock microphone, how to rock your presentation experience, and I'm going to share some tips with you one-on-one on how to really make your message shine and how to make yourself shine with front of the camera. So many of us are like, what do we do with that?
So true, scrolling.
And we go over all of that. And I do want to mention that it is so important to just be yourself when you're in front of the camera. We think we just need to be so perfect, but we don't. It's okay to mess up. It messes up. And right now, life is messy for a lot of people. So it's okay. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Thank you for that.
It's true. I should show you what it look like. My shirt only half covering my body. So to share a little bit about my program, I am offering a course for people. Actually, it's more of a group coaching program. It's going to be happening over 12 weeks where I work with a group of podcasters one-on-one to help them figure out exactly what their messaging is, how to book clients guests that they really just like their dream guests to be on their podcast, how to reach out to them, how to feel really confident about that, how to come up with a strategy to monetize the podcast, and how to really engage with your audience, which is so important. I actually meant to mention that earlier, that audience engagement. I go over the tools that you're going to need to launch your podcast, and I coach you through everything, including editing. You want to set up a studio space that's something like mine, which is super simple and easy, and you can do it from home. We go over all of that. We also have a number of experts, like industry insiders, experts in the podcasting world. They're going to be speaking with my students one-on-one. And I'm really excited about it. And Lexie is going to be sharing how to get press for your podcast. And I'm really excited for people to be able to have that time to speak with her. And so yeah, if you guys want more information, you can go to the following, and we can link to this, but you can find more about my program at bit.ly/podcast coaching program. And there's a bunch of more information there when it comes to what you'll be getting when you work with me.
Amazing. Well, I know we're having some internet issues, but that actually kind of brings us to the end of this. Again, for anyone watching the playback, if you have any questions for Christine, follow her. Can you call out your social handles? I'll link to them. But
sure. My personal social media that I use a ton is just at the Christine OD. You can also follow my business account, which is Bright Sighted Media, like you see with your eyes, Bright Sighted Media. And yeah, either one, you can find me and see pictures of me and my family, my son.
I love it. If you didn't have a chance to join us live, I highly encourage you to go back. Christine shared so many helpful things today about podcasting and why it's something that you should consider as a PR and marketing tool, both for your business and the other side of being on them. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up, and I will end this video.